somebody from the inside came and dropped the waste into the dustbin which was kept outside. As that man walked inside, the elder kid runs towards it, puts his hands into the dustbin. That moment I realized these kids were hungry. Maybe they have not ate. The elder one saw that the food is being put into this dustbin. So as he puts his hand, he takes a little bit of food. I went and holded his hand and I said, drop it. Then I called him and he got scared. My purposes has to go beyond me. My purposes has to be about people, about community. नीले नीले अंबर पर चांद जब आए, प्यार बरसाए, हमको तरसाए.
Welcome to the CoffeeQs Show, where we sit down with some of the brightest minds in leadership for candid conversations over coffee. From insights on steering organizations to personal stories that shape their journey, we bring you the human side of leadership. So grab your coffee, sit back, and join us for a fresh take on the leaders beyond the boardroom. In this episode of the CoffeeQs Show, we are delighted to host Levis Wilson, a visionary entrepreneur and the Director of Estontec Group, a dynamic conglomerate propelling 4 high-growth enterprises. As a new age entrepreneur and the mastermind behind ventures spanning communication, media, and eco-friendly gifting, Levis has redefined industries while cultivating opportunities for thousands of individuals. So get ready for an inspiring conversation about leadership, innovation, and the values that drive a leader dedicated to creating a better tomorrow. So welcome, Levis. How are you doing?
Thank you, Ekta. That was wonderful. Thank you. I'm all good. I've been listening to your podcast. I think you're doing a wonderful job. And thank you for having me here today.
Thanks a lot, Levis. We try to, bring some of the most innovative people on this platform so that our audience can also learn from them, from the journeys. And the whole idea is to keep the conversation as simple and as from the heart as possible. Okay, we do not want to talk about a lot of leadership jargon, but we really want to understand what is it that makes you the leader that you are today, the person that you are today. Okay,
sure. So I'll try to do my best.
Sure, and hope to have a great conversation with you today. Yeah,
sure.
So I'll start off with the first question, firstly trying to understand. So before we delve into the more serious part of it, I would like to understand from you. So, Levis, before we start on the, talking about your journey as a leader, I would first like to understand what is that most unexpected thing about you that most people don't know.
So, what is interesting is none of this, what I'm doing today, is what I thought or I wanted to do. I wanted to be a professional boxer, and somehow that did not happen. And then you know how where we are growing up, we are 20, 21, and then we don't have enough money with us to go out with friends and things like that. So I had to go and ask my father, Dad, give me some money. And then my father will ask hundreds of questions for which I have to answer. I was like, let me put a stop to it. Let me start working somewhere so that I can start making some quick bucks, and then I don't have to answer anybody where I spend that. That's how I started working. But then there was this quality, maybe the way I was brought up, maybe the professional side of boxing that gave me was that you gotta be the best in whatever you do. That particular value, even though the objective was of starting work was just to make some additional money, but then at work, I think the same values were visible. I used to put my heart and soul into whatever I was doing, irrespective of how big or small the task was. It can be as simple as a task of moving this glass from one place to the other place, but the amount of what we call like a shiddat to that task, I think that helped me grow. So this is very interesting for me, myself, and my family, that what I wanted to do or what I'm doing today is completely two different things. But I think that's how life is.
Very true. In fact, that day when I was having a conversation with you about before, this recording happened, you mentioned this to me, and it reminded me of a story which I had read many, many years back about young boy who wanted to become an apprentice with the guru, and he went to the guru, and guru was like, "Why should I teach him?" Yeah, so he just used to keep giving him very odd jobs here and there, and that person, even if it was something like cleaning a table, he would put his heart and soul into it, and he would try to do it in the best possible manner, and it kept on happening again and again. And then finally this guru realized that, oh, this boy is actually so dedicated. Whatever I give him, it may be the oddest of jobs, but he's actually doing it with so much heart and dedication that he was actually forced to start teaching him for the art that this person had actually approached him for. So that reminded me, and I said, yes, it's so true that whatever you do in life, if you put your heart and soul to it, it's always gonna give you good results in the long run. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that. Yeah, you were saying something.
Yeah, no, so often people say that you can only do things to the best only if you love it. If you don't love it, then you won't be able to deliver that task. But I think it is convenient to say that if you fail at something, you can always say that I failed here because I was not into it, I did not love it, no, somebody pushed me into it. But I think that's the convenience that we use. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. If you have decided to take up that task or take up that job, you gotta do it the best, whether you like it or you don't.
I totally agree with you on this. Yeah. So, actually, now I would like to know from your childhood memories. Yeah, if you have any early experience that actually helped shape the values you hold today. Yeah, as a leader, as a person, and how do these values actually influence your work and the decisions that you make today? Yeah.
I think there are two specific points that I continue to carry it till today. And one is that once you have reached as an individual at a stage where you are able to recognize good work done by people, you also continue creating platform for them to excel once you have reached that stage. And the second point is connected with the first point, which is purpose in life. You, me, every listener who is listening to this, everybody has a purpose in this life. It's just that I believe that one's purpose has to be beyond the individual's interest. My purposes has to go beyond me. My purposes has to be about people, about community, about how to move the world forward, right? So today we are in a mindset, we are in a world where as long as my things are taken care of, I am, मेरे पास एक बड़ा बंगला है, बड़ा गाड़ी है, सुंदर बीवी है, बच्चे हैं, और क्या चाहिए मेरे को, but that shouldn't be the purpose. Is something that I learned at a very early age. This is during my school days. I'm sure all of us have a lot of teachers around us. I had this teacher called Sangeeta ma'am, who was my Hindi teacher. So during school days, she used to take classes, one class in the entire month, just to keep our students' interest. She will invite all the students and one by one and ask them to do anything that they like. It can be singing, dancing, poem, drawing, anything. Just she wanted to have the kids, because also our time period, the education system was also, everything was book oriented. I mean, today the education system has moved far ahead, but then it's all books and mugging up answers and then writing it down. That's about it. So this teacher wanted students to come up with their skill set, and I didn't know that I used to sing that well, but I used to sing songs. So she saw me singing this song, and she said, good beta, you're singing beautiful, where have you learned it? And she started asking me these questions, and I was like, I've never learned it. I just used to listen at home, and that's how. Then slowly, after a couple of weeks, she conducts classes in multiple, there were multiple classrooms. So she called me when she figured out she was going, and she saw that my class was empty. People were all playing around and all of it. So she came and asked, "What happened? Why are you guys, lurking here and there?" And we said that no, today our teacher has not come, so it's a free period. And then she moved on to her class. After some time, a student from that class comes and calls me and says, "Hey, ma'am is calling you." So I go there, and ma'am says, "Hey, today it's the day where you have to show all your skill." So I saw this boy who used to sing very well. I thought, let him come and sing in front of me. Now, this is the first time I'm going out of the comfort of my classroom, going into a different classroom. I have 40-50 kids in front of me, and I had to sing a song. I sang my song. People liked it. So that's the second instance. Now comes the final instance where, it changed me. We had this, I think, some sort of a gathering where there were close to about 8,000, 10,000 students, all under one roof. And we were divided into multiple houses, blue color, red color, yellow color. And I was in this yellow color. And it was some Republic Day or, Independence Day. And there were some skit going on. I think Ramayana or Mahabharata skit was going on. And there was a break from one skit to the other skit. They were taking some time to come. And this teacher was the one who was hosting or organizing or whatever. So she had to fill this gap. So she goes to the mic and she says, "Where is Levis from the yellow house?" And then kids all start saying that he's the one. So those days I used to be very introvert and shy type, not very extrovert or all of it. So she called me to the stage. So I'm going back. So the stage is right on top. And all the kids are sitting down, and she asked me to come on top, and she came and said, "Levis, you know what? We have to manage this for about next 10 minutes. We want you to sing that song, no, which you sang that day. I want you to sing that song right now." I was like, "Ma'am, I can't do that. मेरे से नहीं हो सकता है. I mean, in classroom, hardly few people, I can't do it." She literally holded my hand and she pushed me into it. She pushed me, and then वो बोलते ना stage में धक्का दे दिया. So it's more like I was pushed into it, and then I'm seeing all these people, 8,000, 10,000 kids sitting all around. I was all scared, but now that you're here, you have to deliver. So I walk across to the stage. I hold this mic and I'm shivering, literally. I can see even the mic is shivering. I close my eyes. I start singing this song. This is the song of Shankar Mahadevan's Breathless. I used to practice in a way. I used to think that he actually sang the entire song without taking the breath. That used to be the news those days when it was released. So I went ahead and I sang this entire song. And as I ended this song, the way it ends is in a very slow beat. I stopped. I took my breath. I opened my eyes. I literally felt that the earth was shattering because of the claps of this 8,000, 9,000 kids. So this is the moment where I realized that, oh my God, I'm able to make these many people listen to me and love what I just now did. As I turned back and I walked out the steps of that stage, I was no more the same person. So that teacher, who could have, just like hundreds of teachers who have taught me. Today, I don't even remember many of their names, but this teacher, she made it a point that today she has become a teacher. She has a platform and authority to invite people like us who have these skill set and give them the platform to expose those, right? And that she made it as her purpose. Her purpose could have been सबके जैसा आओ, classes लेना है, अच्छे से काम करना है, and then she could have gone home. That's about it. And she would have retired. And by now, naturally, I don't even know if she's there or not. But she made it a point that her purpose is beyond her and her job. Her job was that the kids need to have an overall development, right? So I know when you ask this question, this is the first instance that came into my head. I'm sure there are many other, but I think this remains very live in me, and I think that I continue to do till today, wherever I can.
It's really transformational experience that you shared, and I was actually imagining whatever you were telling me, So you were telling it as a story, and I was imagining you standing on the stage and 8,000, 9,000 kids clapping and you shivering on the stage earlier, and then, that you coming down the steps. So I could actually visualize each and everything. So I think you are a good storyteller as well. So thanks for sharing that. I don't know how many times before you have shared this with people,
Not even once.
Not even once. So I think I'm the lucky one. Or I can say our platform is the lucky one. Yeah. So great. Thank you.
Of the listeners who know me, I think they will be listening. They would have told that I know this man for last 15, 16 years. And never he told this to me. So nobody has asked me maybe. That could be the reason.
So yes, this is actually phenomenal. Thank you once again for sharing that. So great, Levis. After this experience, there's another question that I have for you. If you can tell us about a person, whether a mentor, family member, friend, or colleague, who had a profound impact on your leadership journey.
We run 3 companies and about 5 different brands. The leadership team, which runs this entire companies and the brands, we have all been together for the last, I think, 14, 15 years. They know me, they have worked with me. And we continue to, I have members whom I have seen as a 24-year-old young boy to today who is married and has kids and still with me. So relationship to that extent is something that I always have given a lot of value. And I have 2 mentors who are very senior people whom I do approach them every now and then when I get stuck into this critical juncture. But then this particular mentor of mine, whom I can't reveal because he's a very senior and well-known personality. This man, I think he's today 64 or 65. So one day I'm driving him down to the Bangalore airport. He had come to Bangalore for some purpose. And I said, I never get chance to, spend a lot of time. So let me at least drop you back to the airport. So I go pick him up from the Bangalore office and I'm on my way to drop him to the Bangalore airport. And we were talking about a lot of things. And then something interesting he told me. He said, you know what, Levis, I have heard a lot, I've seen a lot. At the end of the day, all that matters is, are you at the right place at the right time? Then I was like, okay, he just summed it up in 2 words, right time and right place. And then that's the irony, right? The irony is you don't know which is the right time and right place. There, what I understood from him is that we got to keep moving forward. Irrespective of the situation is in your favor, results are in your favor, doesn't matter. You keep moving forward. And as you keep moving forward, there is a very high probability, there is no guarantee, there is a very high probability that you may end up at the right place and right time. If you're going to sit back, if you're not going to move forward, if you're going to wait for that time and place to come to you, that never happened. You got to go behind it. So this is something which came in my head, when you spoke about, mentors and relationships.
Thanks, Levis, for sharing that one. I think that adds on to your childhood experience as well. Had we more time on us, or maybe we were sitting one-on-one, I would have definitely loved to, hear more stories from you. Because I know you have a lot of stories, but yes, this recording is restricted to, a few questions. So I'll move on to the next question, which is that at Amazing Workplaces, which is our company, we believe that it is the leaders who actually end up shaping the culture of the company. Okay, so culture is always top down. Okay. Now, how do you as a leader bring your personal traits into the culture that you cultivate in your workplace?
I think the most important area that I give a lot of preference is walk the talk. If you're going to lead a team, it can be a team of coders, it can be a team of finance team or legal team or sales or market, doesn't matter. But then when you tell them that, hey, we need to achieve this, you're telling it with conviction. And many a times in a team, you have a bunch of people who will accept with that same conviction, and many of them who may not accept it. So what do? You show them how it's done, right? So walk the talk is something that people have today. It has become very superficial, thanks to all the access that we have today to all the social media. Almost everybody can talk to you, about all the jargons and all the leadership traits that one needs to have. Every day you open any of this, somebody is quoting something about it. But those days, the only thing was access to books. Books are the only way where you can learn and then you tell somebody. Today, it doesn't matter what you say, what I say. People are there to, share this social media post. So walk the talk, a very important trait of a leader in any place. He can be a football team leader or he can be a product team leader. You gotta prove it to your team that whatever you are asking them or telling them that, hey, we have to get it done, you stand with them and get it done. Many a times I see that, especially when you have deadlines that needs to be met, many of the time the leader gives instruction and he just leaves the place, expecting the team to deliver. Of course, there is a theory also that, if the leader is there, the team will never deliver and things like that. But then I think you gotta be there with the team to ensure that they also understand that this man is not just bragging, but he actually knows how to get it done. and he's somebody that I would like to replicate and try to do the same. So today, right in front of my eyes, up to the third layer of our organization, I see people walk the talk. So even our supervisor, when they are giving instruction to our site people, and उनसे बोलते हैं कि hey, you know what, you have to complete, let's say 30 today. नहीं सर, नहीं हो पाएगा मेरे से, कहाँ यहाँ पे ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है, तो एक काम कर, तू वहीं रुक, मैं आ रहा हूँ, मैं आता हूँ, मैं तुमको दिखाता हूँ. One of my vertical CEO, he goes and does things what laborers on site they do, and he shows them that hey, this is how it is done, because I had done that with them. So I think that walk the talk trait is something that has to come down. I think we also invest a lot of time in preparing leaders for tomorrow. We have to understand again the purpose. So this is one of the purpose that we ensure that you don't stop talking about leadership just to people who show the leadership traits. You actually try and pass this on to everybody. Everybody will have a turning point. There is always a question, is a leader born with leadership traits or is it acquired over a period of time? Nobody has an answer to it. So we have that practice to ensure that the coaching of better steps that needs to be taken moves from one layer to the other layer, and communication is the key. So I think these are some of the things that we do to ensure that it flows downwards and is not restricted to a group or the leadership team alone, but it goes down because they are the leaders for tomorrow.
Very true. In fact, the walking the talk, it's very important. And sometimes as leaders, as people who our people are looking up to, we do not realize that even a small behavior on our front is something that they are observing. So I was recently having a word with somebody who asked me, how is culture built? Yeah, it was a small organization, and he said, we always struggle with this question: how do we build a culture? I said, first and foremost, start analyzing as a leader, as the person who's running this show, what is the kind of behavior that you are actually doing? So does it happen with you that are you promising or over promising to a client when you yourself know that a delivery cannot happen, and you are kind of just on the phone and you are saying, oh, it will be done in 2 days? So somebody else is listening who also knows that it cannot be done in 2 days, and they see that you are promising something. Then if they have to do the same thing, they'll replicate you. And that is how over a period of time, you'll suddenly realize that, oh, what happened to our culture? You don't even realize it that you are building it day in and day out.
Beautiful example.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It can be as simple as you are the CEO or the director of the company or the head of the department. It doesn't matter what time you come to office, what time you go. But then if you are not here at that 9:30 or 9 a.m. or whatever the time is, that's the culture that is built.
Absolutely.
Right? So people say that, okay, anyway, he's not here at 9:30. What difference it makes if I come by 10 or 10:30, right?
Very true. So, yeah, that's it. Now coming to our next question, Levis, how does your family or personal support system contribute to keeping you grounded in life?
Yeah, I think family plays a very crucial role in especially when you're a startup and then you're trying to scale the business to a certain. Thankfully, we have crossed a stage of startup. We have enough customers, we have enough revenues, profits. The team is growing and all of it. So today things would have been different. But then when you are running, especially a startup, the initial 2 to 3 years, you are the HR, you are the admin, you are the housekeeping, you are the coder, you are the marketer, you are the sales guy. All the roles you are playing. So you won't be able to find time to go for holidays, or you might end up sleeping hardly for 3-4 hours. When your entire family has slept, that's when you are reaching home. So you're working for about 10, 12, 13 hours. There is countless sleepless nights. I think all these journey, communication is the key. It is important that the communication goes to the family, that it is something that is momentary, and all the efforts put in is ultimately for the family. And if you're lucky enough, you would get the right family to support you back. Few of the smarter ways, what I figured out is to keep your family also busy. So if you keep your family busy, they don't have time to think, why are you busy? So it works perfectly fine, right? So it's a cheat code. People can try that.
Yeah, that's a smart move also. Now, coming to some of your social initiatives, I would like to ask you what are those personal experiences or values that motivated you to launch your 24 by 7 kitchen initiative, and how do you envision it impacting the community at large?
The 24/7 kitchen is a project that we want to achieve in the due course of time, but we have been doing our bit in bits and pieces. So there is a small experience into it. It's a small story, and I'm sure many similar things, experiences would have happened with people also. So this is, I think, about 13, 14 years back. I was working with American Express, and here I go to have my lunch. So I go to this restaurant, and I'm picking up the food. So I placed order for a fried rice. And now this man there, fried rice is made in this big, vessel. So, he's mixing it and making it. There are people who are sitting and eating as well. Now I see two kids standing by a pole right opposite to the restaurant, maybe about 50 meters from the 10, 15 meters from the restaurant. They looked, so one of them was, I think, about 7, 8 years. The other would have been 3 or 4 years old. Both are boys. And they were standing and staring at all the people eating the food and cooking and all of it. I did look at them. They didn't look like kids who are lost or something, but at the same time, they were in some need. I looked at them and I looked here and there. I couldn't find their parents or anything. So by the time my food was almost getting over, somebody from the inside came and dropped the waste into the dustbin which was kept outside. As that man walked inside, the elder kid runs towards it, puts his hands into the dustbin. That moment I realized that these kids were hungry. Maybe they have not ate for some time. So they were looking at the restaurant and standing how they can get this food. The elder one saw that the food is being put into this dustbin. He runs across, and so as he puts his hand, he takes a little bit of food. I went and holded his hand and I said, drop it. Then I called him, and he got scared. He thought that I'm going to shout at him or whatever. So I made him stand and his brother next to me. The food that came for me, I handed over that packet in his hand. Now, this is very interesting. He takes that. He doesn't say anything. He's a baby. He's a kid, right? 7, 8 years. He's scared and all of it. He takes that food, holds his younger brother's hand, goes, sits by the wall, makes him sit, and then he opens it and he takes that food and feeds his younger brother. A 7 or an 8-year-old boy understands that his younger brother has not ate, and him taking that food is more important than me taking that food. So I asked him to place 2 more orders, one more for them and one more for me. And as that preparation was going on, you won't believe, Ekta, for the next, I think, about 10-15 minutes, this elder one did not take one bite. He kept feeding the younger one. If we look at the world around us, we are so busy, right? We are so busy about many things that we don't even understand. For example, the Coldplay concert recently in Mumbai and Ahmedabad, so many of them participated in that event, and many of them felt that they are missing out on something really big. But when you go and ask, you will realize that most of them haven't even heard one of his songs before, or maybe that one hit song of his. Nobody. But then it's the FOMO, the fear of missing out forces them also to get into it. But then there are larger pictures like this, where people are really not bothered about what's happening around us. They are as long as मैं खुश हूँ, मेरे पास एक गाड़ी है, एक बंगला है, एक बीवी है, बच्चे हैं, I am happy about it. But I think that's where my purpose. And okay, now the best part, once he also started eating, I kept that packet there. And when I walked out of that restaurant, it gave me a kick. It gave me a wonderful feeling, which most probably years later I experienced it when I holded my baby in my arms for the first time. That's the kind of feeling I had. I liked that feeling. And I said, food is a basic necessity that anyone is entitled to. If we are all alive in this earth and you have people still dying because they don't have food to eat, I think it's a complete mistake the way humanity is going. So you cannot change the world. You can change yourself. And that forced us to start initiatives from the last 7-8 years. Every year we do a drive where we started with food, then now across this last year, I think in Bangalore, Hyderabad, NCR, Mumbai, in all these locations, about 250 plus families, we created a ration kit that will take care of their food and all of it for at least 1 month. So these are all our initiative towards that. And also my personal interest is also to guide through the Gen Z. The Gen Z has a different mindset, and at the same time they also have the intent to do something more, but they don't know what to do or how to do. So by doing such drives, we are also trying to push our the Gen Z or the younger generation to also adapt that in some form of giving back, right? Giving back. So the CSR drive, the entire drive is done by our employees, and a small contribution is done by our team members in that entire drive. So they know that a part of them, and when they give that and come back, their happiness is profound. So that's the vision. So our vision is that there should be an ability for us to run a 24/7 kitchen across different parts of any city, and anybody who needs food should be able to come and eat, ensure that he's not going home without food. He may have a roof on top of him, he may not have, but food is something so that's our vision, and I believe we should, we will 100% achieve that.
I'm sure you'll achieve that. I totally agree with you. Whenever you are doing something for somebody else, the happiness that you achieve at that point of time, it cannot actually compare with any other joy in the world. Another thing which you mentioned was that when you do this, you actually involve your employees. Even in our organization, we promote this as one of the pillars. CSR is one of the pillars. And whenever somebody asks us, oh, we are not contributing to the society, we are not doing this, we always tell them that CSR is not something that is a tick in the box, which because the government is telling you to indulge in it, you have to do it. The basic things as an organization that you can do, involve your employees in little activities. Supposing I read somewhere that there was an organization where they said, okay, everybody bring 1 kg of rice. Doesn't hurt anybody's pocket. But then when you donate it to as many people, the kind of happiness that you can generate, the kind of engagement you can generate in the employees, in their day-to-day lives, it can be really phenomenal. And if you do this regularly, employees also feel good about working with you, okay? Because they know you as a person, as a leader, want to run an organization which is for the benefit of the society. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So another thing actually, Levis, that I've heard about you is that you always say possibilities are limitless. So can you elaborate that statement and how it has impacted you in unexpected ways?
That's right. Possibilities are limitless is something which I came up with my own experiences. Because many a times, I think before even we start something, our assumptions and biases kills us. It does not really allow you to even take that step to see if at all there is a possibility or not. So unless you don't walk that path, how would you even realize that this is something which so you would have noticed this, many people saying that अरे मेरे को तो पता भी नहीं था that I would be able to deliver this, right? I'll tell you about one of our group company which is into transit media advertising. So you see all the ads that on the buses, on the cabs or autos, whatever ads that you see. So we also do that. Now, and this is the story of 2023. So we used to use the Uber and Ola cabs to put the advertisement on it, inside, outside, and all of it. You would have seen that on the streets. The max we had done was, when it comes to cabs, was about 5,000 cabs. In the whole year, we had done about 5,000 cabs. The previous year, that is in 2022. And in 2020, so you can imagine our capacity to deliver 5,000 cabs, which means the resources and everybody is for that. In 2023, we ended up becoming a company which delivered the largest transit media advertising ever in India, with 17,000 cabs deployed in just 30 days. 5,000 wala story was for 365 days. That was our achievement. Here we are. We delivered that in 30 days. Now, when this came, everybody, everybody said, not sure how we are going to pull off. I think we shouldn't even get into it. It is like asking a 5th standard boy to write a 12th board exam. That's not something that's possible, right? So at that point of time, we felt that 1 year, 30 days, no, there's no comparison. But we pulled it off. And when we started it, it's not that I knew how exactly that 17,000 is possible. It's not that I knew it, but you have to make that attempt. And as you make that attempt, you move forward, you will suddenly start seeing avenues of making it happen. And then once you start making that first step, people with you, your team, they also start following you. They also start making that step. So it's not one person making that step forward. Suddenly you have a group of 10-15 people who are standing by you. So then their brains start working. Oh, we can do this. I can do this. I will take care of this. So you're bringing the entire team into that whole decision-making process, but then you are making that initiative. First step is always yours. And once you have got everybody's decision into it, you proceed and make it happen. So this was one example that came into my head. But possibilities are limitless is something which I have been believing many years before, but I'm not able to recollect what was that point. But this is something, the recent thing came in my head.
Interesting to note that. And what you mentioned was that you did 3 times the target in 1/12 the time, right? Great. So now coming to the next question, Levis, if your journey was a book, what's that one chapter that would stand out? You've shared so many examples. Now time for another one.
I think the one chapter that would stand out is that I would have played either a significant role or not so significant role, but an important role in some form in many leaders who would create disruptions in future.
Okay. Coming to the last question, if you could inspire one lasting change in the world, whether through your professional ventures or personal philosophy, what would it be and what drives you towards that vision?
So, Ekta, what is your favorite food? What is that food that's your go-to food and they give you and you love to eat? What is that?
I don't have a favorite food, but yeah, dal chawal I can have anytime.
Dal chawal anytime, right? There is a limit but to the amount of dal chawal that you can eat. So I think there is this maddening race that we are all running towards, all of the humanity. You need to understand that there is very little of what you can take with you. So the same dal chawal, you can eat maybe a plate or maybe 2 plates. But beyond that, what are you going to do? You're going to, it's going to be of no use. So at least if you can think that you start sharing, you start taking care that others have also are included in that journey. They are also prospering and, things like that. At least at some point of time, if not all of them, at least few of them will stand by. But then again, till the end, you can never rely on anybody else. At the end of the day, you have to rely on yourself because you're the only one who will never try to fool yourself. You're the only one that you can commit to. So pinning your hopes into anybody else except you, irrespective of who the other person is, I think that's not something that you should look at. Until the last breath, we got to keep working. We got to find our purpose, which has to be beyond our selfish interests or our loved ones, beyond that. And I think that's how the world gets better and better.
Very true. And the purpose of actually living a life which is for others also while you are doing whatever you want to do is something which is very important in life. I totally agree with you on that, because how much money can you earn, how much lifestyle changes you can make, how much stuff you can accumulate in life, there's no dirt to it. Giving a meal to one person will still give you more happiness in life. Yeah.
True.
So,
I'm only saying that you don't do it by sacrificing your happiness. You fulfill yours.
Yeah.
Then you go ahead. So you fulfill your hunger, whatever that hunger may be. Then you also can, also try to spread that to others.
Right. Absolutely. Now this brings us to our rapid fire round. Okay. So after talking to you, I changed the first question of the rapid fire round and I made it to sing 2 lines. Okay, which are your favorite?
2 lines. Neele neele ambar par chand jab aaye, pyar barsaye, humko tarsaye. 2 lines.
Thank you. That works. So if you could live or relive any moment, month or year in your life, which one would it be?
I would love that moment where I took my baby first time in my hands.
This is the second time I'm hearing that.
Yeah.
So second time I say because I just spoke to somebody else a couple of days back and they
Okay.
also said the same thing.
Beautiful, beautiful.
A piece of advice you ignored at first but now find invaluable.
One of my boss, he told me that this was back in 2009, 10 times. He told me that, hey, you're awesome, you're perfect, you're very good. But you know what? You're weak in multitasking. I was like, what the hell? I mean, and that time it's about that happens once you are in 7-8 years of experience of work. You think that you have conquered the world, and that thought comes in no matter how good or bad you are. That thought automatically comes in, and I was like, oh my god, how can I even think like that? No, I'm very good at it. But then later I realized that I did have a problem in multitasking. You ask me to do one thing, I can just do that one thing. You tell me something else in parallel, I cannot. But then I took that as a challenge. I learned from it, and today here I am in front of you, running 3 different businesses, entities, 5 different brands, and a large team. I think I have managed to take that advice later and work on it.
Great. A book or movie that you think every person should experience?
I think from a to understand how the large companies who have created stories and things like that, there is this book called $1 Trillion Coach. This is by the author Bill Campbell, who has been a coach for many disruptive companies like the Googles and the Apples, and their founders and things like that. I find that book might give us a lot of different aspects of thought from a leadership standpoint.
Thanks. What's a misconception people often have about you?
That I'm a very serious person.
Okay. What's the most spontaneous decision you have ever made?
I think one problem is that, I go by my instinct. Very recently, I started also taking data into consideration, but I work with a lot of my gut. It has worked out. So maybe that's the reason. So there are a lot of decisions that for example, I'll tell you one of our star performers who was almost the reason that whole vertical was booming, but then we call them a genius. Because without them, you are not able to move forward, or they add a lot of value to you. But then you see that this genius disrespects co-workers, does not believe in companies' views and vision. So I had to tell that gentleman to find something else where he would be. So that was pretty instant, because that was against the values that we and the culture of our company believes. I mean, we do not have a situation where our housekeeping assistant only has to clean the table. You have to clean your own table. So that's the way it is. So I think a lot of spontaneous decisions. I think one of this is this. And I think the latest one, when I'm explained to, I got to know that we decided, or it hit me that we have just decided to start our first international office in Singapore. So that was instant within. I've been thinking about it, but once I had all my decisions done, I said we are going for it. Maybe in 5 minutes.
Okay, great. What's one habit you wish you could break?
Yeah, I mean, I would surely want to, if possible, work a little less and spend more time with my kids and the family, if that's possible. But then now what has happened is it's engineered. All these years you have been doing that. So even slight time of you don't have much action going on, you suddenly feel, what the hell am I doing with my life? That feeling comes. But if I could, I would like to find more time to spend time with my parents and things like that. So if you notice, everything with human to do is with time, because time is one thing that we cannot control.
So yes, that's very important. Now, if you could instantly change one thing in the world, what would it be?
I think I always had a problem with our law system, which does its steps to punish people who does harm to women, especially rape convicts and things like that. I think theft and such kind of acts are different. But when you're trying to hurt somebody, like killing somebody or hurting somebody physically to an extent that it leaves a lot of trauma on them, I think the whole law system, if I can change, I would love to do that. I mean, we have to instill so much of fear in people that you cannot commit such act and live your life in Tihar or any jail comfortable. That does not happen that way. So that piece is something which I have always felt the urge. If I could, I would want to create so much of fear in humanity that that's something that you cannot do. So that I would have loved to change.
Totally agree with you. I think as human beings, a lot of us feel that. Thanks for talking about it, because on a public platform, very few people would actually talk about it. Yeah.
Right.
So great. Thanks for being that courageous. And if you could switch places with anyone famous for a day, who would it be?
Steve Jobs is somebody that I always admired because his methods were always controversial. It is not what an MBA book or any other schooling can give you. His approach were all disruptive in nature. So when I had done my certification on disruptive strategy from the Harvard University, our professor used to quote him and his studies a lot. So you don't find him as the typical leader that we all love to see, or we hear about it. He was
a favorite leader also.
Yeah. So but then still he managed to create. And if you look at today, Apple as a company is unable to bring in anything new or anything innovative or anything. So it was only possible until his era. So if he was alive, and if I would wanted to go back, I would want to go back during the 80s for one day, on how that life happened.
He set a benchmark which was so high. That's why even his own company cannot actually, create things beyond that. Yeah. Your greatest fear?
Yeah, I'm a little scared about the fine, something that I don't want to talk about is that, my kid is growing up fast, and in a couple of years time she will go to college, and then she will go for her work life and things like that, and then I wouldn't be able to spend this much time with her. When she had the time, I am not there. When I have all the time in the world, she might be busy. So that piece is something which I don't want to think about. So even at home when we talk about it, let's not talk about it, let's leave it, let's live in the moment.
That's true. Yeah, but you regret those things actually.
Yep. True.
And now coming to the last question, if you had a personal motto, what would it be?
I think personal motto, I think I have covered. It is to create a world a better place in whichever capacity I can. We are trying to make small steps, and I think at some point of time it will all make all the difference. But I think to make world a better place, it can be in the form of products, innovations, building people, building their careers, bringing in more and more leaders. So I think overall making world a better place.
Okay. Thank you, Levis. Thank you so much for this awesome conversation that we had today. I believe I really enjoyed this conversation, and there was so much to learn from you and learn about you. I'm sure our audience are going to really love this episode, and thanks once again for being here and for talking to us. Thank you.
Great, Ekta. I mean, you're so warm and you connect with people because you get various people with their various mindset, but you're able to connect with all of them, and you're very warm. So the opposite person also feels to open up and talk about things. So I think that's so nice of you. I think you're doing an excellent job. You should continue doing this. I'm wishing you all the very best.
Thank you so much, Levis. Wonderful having you here.
Thank you, Ekta. Thank you.